Well, good morning, good evening, wherever you're coming from. I'm in COVID, so I'm doing this from my house, and let us begin. I hope you're having a great day, and I have a presentation for you. So, have you ever got out of bed just a little bit late? You get your clothes on, and then you realize you're starving. So, you run down to the Hunger Den, you walk in the front doors, and then you turn the corner, and the doors are closed. You now have to go for the rest of the day until lunch without eating and not being at 100% mental capacity. So, there's a problem there. There's many times this has happened to me, and I've just had really off days because of it. I was no longer at 100%, so I just dragged around until lunch. So there needs to be a change here. The Hunger Den concession and Irma's Cafe need to extend their hours to help all students, and the reason is it will help students, you'll have better possibilities of work study hours, and it could also profit the college. So my first point here is the possibility of work study hours. All students have a certain number of hours, and this is for their yearly job. Every student that is living on campus has to get a certain amount of hours. Most students only have to get 10 hours, but you can also get up to 20 or 30. So you have to have a job for this. These jobs can range from trash detail all the way up to office work, but a lot of freshmen, especially a few of my friends, actually have one such as trash detail or, in other words, yard cleaning. So this is not a good thing because it can actually take a really big toll on our bodies. So, such as myself, I have cross country, and I have a pretty good work study that actually lets me go through and just not really have much physical activity going. So therefore, I'm pretty rested forever whenever we have practice. But for my friend, he actually has to get 10 hours of lawn work each week, making him have a lot more pressure on his bones than what I do. So if he could get into the cafeteria work or any of the dining options, then he could actually be more willing to be at ease with his body because he wouldn't have to be stressing it out all the time. But like I said, every student has to get these hours, but there's not that many openings in our free dining options. So that's why one reason we really need a lot more jobs opening for them. And all these opportunities would help all kinds of people. What if you actually wanted to gain that job opportunity just because you like to deal with food or anything? So having more job opportunities would actually be really good for our college. The second point with getting more work study opportunities in the free dining options would be a great way to make up hours and a great alternative to paying tickets. So most students, we occasionally get reckless with our time. I say this because I miss my work study a lot of times, and I was able to make it up though. Other work studies, it's not so simple. The people who work them, are the work heads of it, are not able to actually take the time to work with their people individually sometimes. They're more likely to have to do other work that actually pertains to their job or something vital for their job. But then their students that are under them aren't able to get the work study done. So this would be a really good thing for the cafeteria to open up so that they could actually help other students throughout their walk through their work study. So this means, let's say you had one student that needed to make up hours, so they could come into the cafeteria or the Hunger Den or anywhere else and just work that extra bit of time so that they could make up their hours and wouldn't have to wait and make it an inconvenience for their work head. This would also be a really good thing if a student could pay off their tickets and their fines by working off their hours. So I remember when I first got my first ticket, I panicked thinking, how was I going to pay for this? Just because I didn't want to pay it. I was fortunate enough to get it forgiven, but not all students get them forgiven. So if they could work this time off in the Hunger Den, Irma's Cafe, or the concession, then they'd be more likely to never do it again just because they were getting punished for it, and they would actually have the peace of knowing they wouldn't have to go back and pay it off. This is a vital for us because it would be a win-win. One for the college because they're not having to be withdrawn for their hours, and for the student because they wouldn't have to be paying for it. My second big point is that it could profit the college. It's to make the business increase at all of these places, especially at Irma's Cafe and the concession. Like many people, I love to go to Irma's Cafe to get either their popcorn chicken, their French toast sticks, or especially their caramel frappe with 2 shots of espresso. So many days I would just go from class, go up there to their door, and not realizing it was 4 o'clock or 4:01, the door would jar me as I pulled it open. This would make me not want to eat there as much just because I wasn't able to go in there, and I was going to give them my money anyways, so they should have, if they would have been open, I would have been giving them my money, helping them profit more. Many students like me would want to go up there throughout the day, whenever they're not open at the time, but could be open, and spend their money there. It's also like this at concession. Many times I've went up there, realized it wasn't time for meal exchange, and I would go up and study, and then I'd come back and they wouldn't be open anymore, therefore losing the money that I could be giving them. This is not profitable thinking that they could be making so much more, but they're not being open to the mind of extending their hours. This also applies to the Hunger Den, even though it's not as ideological, not as thought of. It can, because of this, even at other places such as Virginia Polytechnical Institute and State University, they are actually open 2 extra hours for breakfast compared to our college, and that's from their main website at virginiatech.com. This is because they want to make more money. They want to appeal to students. And you also have other colleges such as the University of Rio Grande, and they actually stay open from 7 o'clock to 9:30 p.m. every day. That means that they're open for so much longer than what we are. And this trend continues. That information came from the marketplace dining room. In all these places, they could be open to so many more possibilities to extending their hours, and then they could make so much more money off us. It also helps us with the atmosphere that they're presenting. Whenever I go to get breakfast and they're not open, I get dissatisfied. And that's one thing you don't ever want a customer to be. You never want us to be dissatisfied, so therefore we won't want to come back. You want your customers to be satisfied so they continue to come back and spend more money with you. It's just basic marketing. This will also help during finals. Having more time to eat and just calm down would just help us get refreshed. And to be honest, like most students, I eat when I'm stressed. So I would be spending more money there or at all these places just so I could get some relaxation. This would lastly just help students on their journey and showing that the students are cared for at our college. I'm not sure how most people work, but personally, whenever I take a notion, well, someone else takes a notion for my situation and my problems, it makes me feel loved and that I'm actually being cared for. In the dining options that we have, their hours aren't showing that they care for us as much as what they should be. If our hours were extended, we're being shown that we are cared more and loved more by our college. It's also showing that, and especially at a time where students are eating less and less breakfast and other meals, especially where there's been a study that's been done that says only 65% of students are actually eating for breakfast. That information comes from Irma R. Gosling. But the thing is, why would they not want to stay open longer so we can help them make more money? This also help make them more money, help us show that we're loved. And if we're feeling that we're loved, we'll keep coming back. This will also help students with time management. With these hours being extended, students can more likely accommodate for their athletics, their work studies, and for their just regular classes. But until they add on these hours to help us, it's not going to help us as much as what should be. And this also gives students a reason to not complain about being unable to eat. And when you can't complain about it, you get happy about it. Just continue with that mental idea that they want us and that we are beloved by ALC College. So in conclusion, there are a ton of pros to be considered here. These food establishments on campus should be open throughout the day. It would help students in their journey throughout college to make more possibilities for work study hours and to profit the college itself. And I leave you with these words. Let us make our temporary home more loved and better for generations to come. Thank you.